my name is Lena, and if you're new here, you might not know, you might have been deceived by my sunny demeanor, my optimistic outlook on life, that I am inherently incredibly skeptical of anybody who wants to sell me products, particularly clothes. It's why you will barely see any sponsors on this channel, because simply most people are out there to destroy the world, and I am here to simply just try and opt out in any goddamn way I can. And that means that I spend a lot of time on secondhand apps. However, it has come to my attention in the last year or so that I must still be on my guard in these spaces, because people are still out there to try and ruin my life and that of the planet. And it might surprise you to hear that I, a Vinted veteran, if you will, was recently scammed. This is a package that I myself packed. This is my sellotape. This is my reused packaging handiwork. And why, Lena, you may ask, did you send yourself a piece of clothing? Let me tell you the story. So I recently bought this pair of jeans from Beyond 9, who are a thoughtful small brand that I saved up to buy a beautiful pair of jeans from that I think is really, really well made and beautiful. And I loved them so much that I thought, do you know what? A second pair would actually probably complete my life. I've been wearing them so much that I would love another pair in a different color. However, I am trying to limit how many new items I buy in the year. Ideally, I want to support small businesses and secondhand. So I jumped on Vinted, and I was excited to see what would seem like an identical pair of jeans in a slightly different color and the same size for an incredibly reasonable price. Now, usually I would have done my customary checks, my detective agency levels of sleuthing, but you caught me at a vulnerable moment. It was late at night. I was so excited to find this sold out colour, and I just thought, do you know what? I'm sure it'll be fine. I haven't had any problems with Vinted for a very, very long time. I'm sure it's all good. Humans are nice. Let's order them. Now, there is this thing called drop shipping. It's a scandal. We simply don't have time to go into it now, but it is one of the things that bad people do on the internet to try and scam people out of their money by pretending to sell them high quality second-hand goods, but actually selling them first-hand goods from cheaply made fast fashion factories that seemingly seem like a bargain. The first red flag was that it came in this plastic bag. Now, if I had never touched this brand before, if I had never felt how the fabric actually feels, seen how the seams actually behaved, or the inside of the garment, I probably would have thought something along the lines of, that's a shame. I thought Beyond 9 was a really nice, like good quality company. These don't seem like very good quality, but I guess the last person who had them also probably felt that way, and that's why they were selling them on. However, luckily for me, I had a genuine pair to compare them to, and my first point of call, that you know from my other videos is a real bugbear of mine, was that the inside of the jeans was white. These are black and brown on the outside. The inside, this cheap white fabric, whereas the other pair of jeans, the colour follows the whole way through the fabric. It is the real colour of the weft, whereas this is white fabric that has been dyed on the outside. On further inspection of the seams, the way there is this white discoloration on the fabric where it has been creased as compared to these ones, and many other factors led me to believe that these were fakes. So I did some sleuthing. I compared the labels of the two jeans. Not quite close, but not quite the same. I compared the fabric content. The real ones are 100% cotton. The suspicious ones have 3% elastane in them. The care instructions are slightly different. And on that basis alone, I submitted a refund request. I was like, I don't think these are the jeans. If they can provide any proof or receipt that they actually bought these jeans, but here are all my comparison pictures, I don't think these are real. I'd like my money back. The seller then came in and offered me a discount to like refund me 50% of the amount without saying actually they're real or like sorry about that or interacting with me in any way. And I said, no dice, my friend Bernard, send me that money back, you little bastard. And Vinted forced them to, which is great for like a lot of the time whenever I've had problems with Vinted, which is very rarely, I have always got my money back as the customer. And as part of that deal, I had to send the item back to them that I'm calling the scammer Bernard. I don't know why. I had to send it back to Bernard. Bernard, however, never collected the item from his in-post locker. And in that instance, what happens is you get sent the item back. So now I have this counterfeit pair of jeans that aren't very good quality that I have to decide what to do with, a new item I didn't want to buy, and I'm pissed. So I thought, because I have been ruminating on this issue for quite some weeks now, I thought I would compile a list of things that I usually do and wish I had done in these circumstances before buying the item, when I am buying something that is branded on Vinted, to make sure that it is genuine and that I am actually having a secondhand interaction. Because something that really boils my blood is not that the horrible capitalists sell on their own platforms and try and ruin the planet that way and be upfront about it. That does piss me off, but what also really like grinds my gears in a very specific way is infiltrating secondhand platforms where people are genuinely intentionally trying to buy secondhand and lessen their impact on the world globally and still try and sell us absolute shit fast fashion. And I won't have it. And until we have laws in place that are effective and systems that stop this from happening, all we can do is gossip together about ways to prevent it happening to us. So the first thing that I would do in a situation like this is to reverse Google image search. That means simply going to google.com, pressing that little picture button, uploading a screenshot of the listing and seeing what comes up. Sometimes people will list an item as coming from the brand when they actually just mean it's got the vibes of Patagonia, it's got the feel of Reformation, but it's not the actual thing, and they know that's different, and now you do too. So just Googling the item and seeing if an item comes up that is actually linked to the brand or branded in some way to make sure that they have actually ever made that item is the first step. Secondly, if you don't own an identical item, which would be very rare, and frankly, most of the time, obviously you're buying an item that you don't own, look at other listings on Vinted of the same item. If they have shown the label, the fabric makeup of the item, the insides of the item, and it doesn't match the listing that you might want to buy, there is cause for concern. Have a little look, because even if the person that you're buying from isn't that thorough with inside photos and pictures of the cuffs and the seams, somebody else, some other goddamn angel will have been thorough with their listing. So having a little sleuth check with that is very important. The third is fabric composition. Obviously, you can either maybe just copy the homework of other people that have listed the item on Vinted, or you might be able to find the original listing of the item on the company's website or partner companies. Or in the case of like these jeans, these are a sold out color, but it's a type of item and a style that they have sold for years. So even if the actual item isn't available on the website, a comparable pair of jeans in exactly the same cut would probably have the same fabric composition. In this case, I was actually even pernickety enough to email Beyond 9 to check my work and be like, have you ever sold things with 3% elastane? So you can also do that if you're a little over the top like me, but a simple check of what their usual fabric composition is important, especially if like maybe one has organic cotton and one is just normal cotton, one has any kind of polyester, elastane, anything synthetic in it that the original brand doesn't have. That's obviously cheaper to make and throws up some questions. 4, AI pictures. These are becoming really hard to spot. I had quite an argument with somebody on Vinted. So I have like a burner account, and I'm actually a little bit ruder on my burner account than I am on my public account, but like only to people that deserve it. But I did basically question this person who had put up loads of AI images, and I was like, you know that that's actually against the terms of service of Vinted, right? And you know that they're obviously AI, and you know that that's wrong, and we can't see what the item is like. I don't know if I need to go into why uploading an AI image to Vinted is like inherently disgusting here, but very briefly, the whole point in listing an item that somebody wants to buy is they want to see what condition it is in, how it hangs and fits on the body, and the actual item that you're selling. Uploading an AI image that will not look like the actual image is lying. That's very unfair. It's very silly. I won't have you doing it. I don't want to catch you, okay? Not okay. And actually also against Vinted's terms of service. However, like, who can keep track of it in this world? But ways that I can tell that there is an AI image at foot, and even it's worth just asking the question, and then somebody might go, oh no, it's not, sorry, that here's some more pictures of the item or whatever, but at least some clues that it might be AI. On their profile, they've listed lots of pictures of different people wearing the clothes. It's obviously not the same person modeling the item. I've seen ones where it's kind of the same, it looks like the same person, but the background is slightly different, like they own different plants, the configurations of their room is slightly different, a window is in a different place. And then of course there's obviously like if their skin is too smooth or just things look a little bit uncanny, that is also the case. But then when I made my notes for this video and until now, which is only a couple of weeks, I feel like AI has got even better in that it's replicating things like imperfect blurs in pictures and skin texture and stuff like that. So any indication that a picture is AI is a really big red flag. Even if sometimes people are selling genuine items, they're still creating AI pictures. Really annoying. Have no idea how to completely catch it, but at least asking yourself the question, could this be AI? Is there any like really simple indicators that it could be AI? It's worth a shot. Number 5 is I go on the Instagram of the original brand and check their tagged items to see what the item genuinely looks like. And also this is just a really great way of seeing how it fits on different bodies and just genuinely if you want to buy the item, even if you're sure that it is like a genuine item. Going on the brand's account and not looking at what they've uploaded, but what other people have tagged them in. Invaluable bits of data sets that are like rarely tapped when you're shopping secondhand and are like so useful to decide whether you want an item or not. I don't think I've put this on the list, but this is just a really good thing to check. When you're checking similar items on Vinted for like the same item, but like by different sellers, checking how that's worn, because you might want to buy one that's nearly new or new with tags, but lots of people will be selling items at a slightly lower price of more used items, and you can see how well that wears, like whether it's looking a bit scraggy or the shape has sagged or the seams have kind of gone like, and or maybe the color has faded or the pattern has faded, the print has peeled. That's also a really good way of being able to detect whether you actually want to buy the item, because you can kind of see into the future of what it might look like after 10 wears in your wardrobe. Number 6, if you are unsure, I think it's completely fine to ask the seller for a screenshot of the purchase. Obviously they can scribble out their personal details or whatever, and of course they could fake it, but it's just another barrier, another thing to be like, I just want some reassurance that this is a real item. I don't think that is unreasonable, and if somebody asked that of me, I would totally do it, just because I'm like, it's the Wild West out there. I get it. You're spending your hard-earned money. You want to know. That's totally fine. Number 7, if in doubt, you are allowed to return it. I think the more people that return this stuff to make sure that those people aren't getting their money, even if you're still saddled with the item, I think is good and decentivizes them from doing it again. And either using or repurposing the item or selling it on ethically, which means for me, I guess, relisting it on my Vinted, but saying, hey, this isn't the real item, but here's where the problems with it, but here's what it is. Let me know if you want it or not. Making sure that the item doesn't go into landfill anyway, I think is a great act of rebellion. Of course, when you're selling something on like this that you know might be fake, but even if you're selling something on that you genuinely believe is real, but is something that you have bought from somebody else and not directly from the maker of that product. Going through these questions is very useful as well to determine whether you are selling on a real item or not. Of course, Vinted does also have a verification system that you can pay for when you're buying a high quality item, but that depends on whether you feel like that's worth it for you, what price point you're buying something at, and how valuable that is to you. I've never tried that before. I'd love to know in the comments if you have ever tried that before, because I think it is a really good service. But it's also like, if the brands aren't sure themselves what constitutes authenticity, if they can't list stuff like the history of the fabric composition over the past 10 years, which is really hard to get hold of. I don't know if Vinted has that. I'm not sure how they're doing verification, especially for smaller brands like Beyond 9 and stuff like that. I get it for brands like Doc Martens or Coach or designer stuff that's been around for a really long time, but for small independent brands or like bigger fast fashion brands, I don't know how they would do that. But yes, that service is also available. I would love to know what your tips are for not getting scammed on Vinted. And even if you're somebody that usually checks, no, I'm going to lock myself out of my Vinted account at late at night, I think, because that's when I make the decisions that I don't usually go, I don't go through the same kind of rigmarole I would during the day. But yes, I would love to know what your tips and tricks are. If you're also a Vinted veteran like me, or somebody who shops secondhand online, I'd also like to hear what other apps you lot are using. I love Vinted, but I used to use Depop, and I'd love to hear if there's any like new ones popping up that I should try. Let me know in the comments below what you use or how you get hold of secondhand items. Thank you so much to the Gumption Club who tip me for these videos, so these videos can keep happening. It's so bloody lovely of them, and it means I can make videos like this that would very much struggle to get a sponsor from anyone. So I'm really grateful for their support, and it means that we weren't interrupted by a sponsor on this channel, and I can continue to be incredibly salty about most brands on earth, which I like to think in a little way is useful. If you would like to join and you like the sound of my voice, I have like hundreds of podcasts available on my Patreon as well. So I'll leave the links to that below, and I'm excited to read the comments and hear all of your tips. Now, I'm off to make a plan of what the hell I'm gonna do with these scammy ass jeans. Frog snog out.